pumaglobalplc.com. Buy, sell, connect. You know, this is a part of the day where I get to enjoy my Puma drinks. You should get a bottle too. I mean, it's been a very good day. Why don't you crown it all with a chilled bottle for proper enjoyment? Enjoy Puma drinks in cola and orange. You deserve to be celebrated every day. Yeah, Puma drinks, a whole new vibe. For bulk purchases, you can call 0262 351 251. Puma drinks, another quality product from Casa Preco Company Limited. And this ad is FDA approved. Amele Josu's back with the latest updates. What's up, girl? How are you?
I'm good, Lexus. Yourself?
Oh, I missed you so much. Yeah.
Oh. I wish it was coming from like a real cool place like that, but there's some mischief back in it.
No, absolutely not. It's coming from
well,
a very good place.
if it's really real, then I mean the feeling is mutual.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I know you're cool like that.
Okay, so on Showbiz A to Z this past Saturday, 3 music awards founder and NDC parliamentary candidate for Okaikwe Central, Baba Sadiq Abdullahi Abu, was on the show, and he responded to concerns why the 2023 edition of the 3 music awards has not been held yet. And according to Baba Sadiq, he said, look, management of 3 Media Network will release a statement to address that. Take a listen to Baba Sadiq.
It will be unfair to preempt the answer.
We are in May.
Unfair relative to the team
Okay.
and our new CEO who's running the business.
Okay.
And in charge of the project. And I know a few of the things that they are planning and some of the things they are doing. And so I would want that for them to take it up from there. Kwame, please let's wait for Rush and the team. I mean, there'll be a communication. What I can say is that obviously between now and the next few weeks there'll be a communication in that regard. I know the team have been working hard, around the clock to ensure that it happens. But let's all, fingers crossed, let's all wait.
Yeah, so for those of you who've been asking what happened to 3 music awards, there you have it. We all have to wait for that press statement from the organizers. Now, the VGMAs came off this Saturday, and while Angel Town, Success Music Executive Angel Town, went to pick up the award for Best Hip Life Hip Hop Artist of the Year on behalf of Sarkodie, he made quite a strong case for musicians regarding the Ghanaians in the diaspora. He urged them to support our artists when they come over for their various tours and shows with all the enthusiasm they can. Take a listen to Angel Town.
Okay, so such a beautiful night to have such amazing talents gathered in one auditorium. But one thing I know for sure is there are a lot of diasporans who are logged onto the internet right now watching the awards. It's a great time because a lot of our stars are about to go outside the country to promote the music. I know Black Sharif is in New York. Stoneboy is about to go. Jackie, Sarkodie, Fameye. All I want to say is we need to push our music. All these Ghanaians in the diasporans, please, when these people come to you, come out, show love. This is where it starts from. So if you're watching me, we're coming to you this summer. Please come out, let's have a party. That's how the Ghanaian music becomes a big story, just like the Nigerian one.
I'm just feeling his accent there. I don't know if because he was delivering a message to the diasporans, it's gonna, come out,
Yeah.
Hey, wahala. See, the day I'll go over this season, you guys, you will disappear from this country. You will disappear. You won't.
Your mistake now could transit to America. Transit. The accent you will bring count.
But the America cried that I'm dead. See, if I go to France, you guys, you are finished.
Oh my God. You will come back with a German accent.
See, you guys are finished.
You go to France and come back with a German accent.
See, if you can even tag or label that accent,
oh my God.
Then you're a winner. But I'll finish you off for this.
Here, Angel. So all of you gotta come out this summer.
Nah, maybe they know. What's it there? So away from the local front scene, American
this one was local. I thought this one was foreign though. Hey, sorry. I thought this was foreign. Because accent near there, I didn't know. I didn't think it was local.
Oh, you just warm up. Let's just warm up.
That's right.
Let's just warm up. You let us get there. American rapper Drake, shared some results from his father's ancestry test, and it labeled that he was 30% Nigerian, and he was asking that could he be a Nigerian for real, or he may be a Nigerian. And guess what? There was a bit of Togo in there. There was a bit of Ghana in there. China, plenty countries. Oh.
So how?
I don't even know which kind of DNA, ancestry, whatever. So if two people, family tree, connected, how did all those infuse into two people? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Because
his ancestors moved around a lot.
Yeah, they play too many games. Way too many games. They cross too many plantations for my liking. I don't know.
You see why Amelo just say you have to stay in Ghana. I know as one day.
See, the I'll do mine. Because as I say here,
India.
As I say here,
Tuvalu.
No way, baby.
No way, Kaka.
Oh God. I'll do mine in Igbo. Them dead.
You spawned it.
Hey. But Charlie, that just adds up. Beyonce, the likes of Caesar, and they all identify with some Nigerian roots. Charlie, I don't know why they are still going. They should come to Ghana.
So if we do this same ancestry thing they do, where were our ancestors?
Our own may cause depression. He's talking. Because that's when you see the Sudanese in there. They come.
It's all right. Don't choose violence. It's okay.
So we just stick to
this.
Okay.
Let's leave it there.
That's just it. That's just it for entertainment. My name, as always, is Amelie. Just to have a good evening.
All right, girl. Thank you so much. From your mom, Na Lamioko. I'm Lexus Bill. It's been a good day. Thank you so much for spending time with us here on Drive Time. On behalf of the team, Adam Naite, Philip Nye, Abeku Sankofi, Anita Tam, Robert Johnson, Chris Piquet, Oliver Final, and Abdul Wadud. We're grateful that you spent time with us. Tomorrow, we'll do it again, okay? So make sure you're here at 3 o'clock. We'll bring you the best late afternoon radio show in Ghana. Drive Time on Joy. Enjoy your evening.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Tonight, NDC national executives clash region tonight, where there is more trouble for the party executives to deal with as hundreds of party activists protest decision to stop them from voting on Saturday.
Call for the removal of the suspension of the branch executive that barred these delegates to partake in the 13th May exercise within 48 hours.
We have the latest as we learn that infiltration of the party's leadership ranks in the Ashanti region by MPP moles may be the reason why the NDC is suspending elections in some of the Ashanti region's constituencies.
We've had situations where you find MPP members, personating or being executives of the NDC.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. NDC national executives are tonight taking on presidential hopeful Dr. Kwabena Dufour's camp, dismissing their claims of an attempt to rig the presidential primaries as, quote, malicious. Flag bearer hopeful Dr. Dufour had alleged that the register made available by the party is fraught with several discrepancies. His campaign team has therefore written to the party and has asked the party to postpone Saturday's elections as they attempt to now deal with the challenges. Kofi Kukubo is with Dr. Kufuor's campaign team.
Out of the 275 or 276 constituencies, we are given only 220 constituencies, photo album or the voter register. So clearly you realize that we have either 55 or 56 constituencies that are not ready. So that establishes the point of incompleteness of the voter. About 54% of those in the photo album cannot be identified. I mean, with their names or with their voter ID or party ID. And out of that also, 74,799 people are on the exceptional list. Now, when we say exceptional list, it only means that there are people who, apart from their names, there is no other form or means by which you can validate whether they are indeed the people who are supposed to cast their vote or not. Their sex or gender is not stated. So it cannot guarantee free and fair election. That's why we are requesting for the postponement of the election so that stakeholders will sit down around the round table, agree on the roadmap.
Well, we're hearing from the party tonight, and the party is taking a tough stance on the subject of the alleged discrepancies, as reported by Dr. Kwabena Dufour's camp. But we've learnt a few more, a bit more about their concerns, and my colleague with the political desk, Kwasante, is with me in the studio with that. They have shared some evidence to back their claim that more than 50% of that register is inaccurate or has challenges.
Indeed, if you look at the particulars that Dr. Kwabena Dufour's campaign have put out, they've gone to the extent where they've put out pictures from the voters register. They start off by saying that 54% of the delegates in the photo album are persons who have identities that cannot be validated. This goes to the integrity of the voters register. So 50% of delegates in that photo album cannot be validated. They say that 28% of delegates in the exception list have no information as part of their names. We know that political parties and even the national register have an exception list. These are persons whose identity are being challenged, among others. They have 28% of such persons that they say have no information that they can validate. They go on to say that 2% of names have been additionally added to the register, and that the percentage can be higher after these identities have been verified. Again, 26% of delegates are missing from the register. I've heard from one person from the Dufour camp saying that these are persons that may likely vote for Dr. Kwabena Dufour. And so 26%, a huge number, they say that completely missing. To talk about duplicated photos, duplicated voters ID, unidentified persons having been added to the register, and then 46% of the register cannot be validated because they've come through the register, they have incorrect voters ID, the party ID do not match, the photos, the gender, the age, the polling station name or polling station code do not match. So these are the particulars that Dr. Kwabena Dufour's team have put out. They attach to these inaccuracies and photos from the register. For instance, there's someone called Mohammed Isaka, and he's a youth organizer in one branch, and then the same person's name appear in another register as Mohammed Isaka, but as communications officer. So this same person with two different positions in the branch, according to Dr. Kwabena Dufour. They also have duplicated photos. There's one person here. At one point, his name is Isaac Nyani. At another point, his name is Alfred Sodoga. But it's the same person on both sides of the register. And then there are a number of them where males have female names and then females having male names. So these are the particulars that Dr. Dufour's camp have put together.
And Dr. Dufour's camp had also suggested in that interview that they've not been given enough time, first of all, to go through this, but have also been restricted in terms of how much access they get to these documents. Well, today, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC has been speaking about this in the last hour or so. And he says the party takes strong exception to the allegations and suggestions that this is part of the setting grand scheme to rig the elections, but also dismissed the suggestion that the camp of Dr. Dufour have not been given unfettered access to the documentation surrounding elections. Listen to Musa Fagbande.
All three aspirants, as far as the presidential election is concerned, have had unfettered access to the party, unfettered access to information. They were given full, support in terms of anything, space, opportunity that they require. They have been given delegates list about a month and a half ago.
You've given the register to Dr. Dufour.
Yes. And let me tell you the inconsistencies. We didn't want to talk about it, but let me say it. When we started printing our ballot papers, this same Kukubo guy, who is our brother, brought agents who were in the printing room supervising the printing of ballot papers. We had another call from the same camp.
You mean the Dufour camp?
Yes,
right, okay.
Asking when we are going to start printing ballot papers.
Yes.
Clearly, you have a camp that sharing information among themselves is a problem. The second issue is that when we gave them delegates list, some members of the same camp came up, Rojo specifically, came up again to ask of a delegates list. And we said, but we've given your team. The third issue is that as of yesterday, he was all over the place that we've not given them albums.
Yes.
That is untrue. We've given them about 240 constituencies so far, and the rest would be completed today. And so the claim that some national executives are trying to rig election and that we're trying not to give them information is unfounded and malicious.
So the...
He says some of the claims made by the camp of Dr. Dufour simply malicious because the party actually met them just yesterday and suggests that their latest public release was after that meeting, creating the impression as if the party had not attempted to address some of the concerns.
They have been briefed and they are aware. They had a meeting with our elections team yesterday.
So what you gave them,
as soon as they left the meeting,
is same as what you gave to the John Mahama team.
All of
same
them.
as what you gave to the Kojo Bonsu team.
Yes. As soon as they left the meeting, they put out this letter.
Albums for 240.
I said as soon as they left a meeting with us yesterday, when you look at the wording of the letter, it is as though they don't have audience with leadership at all. That is unfounded and malicious. As soon as they left a meeting with the elections committee yesterday, they put out that letter. And one claim they are making is that they have analyzed about 3,870 something branches, polling stations. We don't have that number of polling stations.
Well, thankfully, we can speak now to Mr. Kukubo himself. He is with Dr. Dufour's campaign team and joins us on the line right now. You heard his name was specifically mentioned there as one who was very central and brought in agents to supervise the printing of the ballots. Mr. Kukubo, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
You're most welcome.
I mean, so you heard there, unfounded and malicious, part of the claim that you've made. That's been the description of what you've been saying, particularly the revelation that just yesterday, before you went public, you had met the party, and yet you created the impression that you've not been giving a hearing.
Anyway, let me just establish the truth or the facts properly. Because, one, Mr. Bande, who is the Deputy General Secretary, has never attended any of our meetings. And I can recount that the meetings we have had, apart from the ones that we are supposed to bring poll agent, printing of ballot paper agents, we have never had any meeting more than 2 times. So if we add that of the bringing the polling agent to come and supervise the ballot printing, we'll say that we have met only 3 times. But concerning the issue on the way forward or the voter register, we met only twice. Let me also address this fact that Bande is trying to create the impression that because Dr. Kwabena Dufour's camp is disorganized, which I don't know where he's getting those ideas from or who has conveyed that message to him. As a result of that, Dr. Kwabena Dufour, as a candidate and a stakeholder in this election, was deprived of the requisite and the relevant information that should be given to him to make an informed decision. I think that is a sad statement to hear from a Deputy General Secretary. However, according to the guidelines, which were communicated to us verbally, because when you look at the guidelines, there's nothing stated in the guidelines on voter register. When you read the regulation 8(1) and 2, the guidelines were clear that the election will be conducted by Electoral Commission of Ghana in collaboration with the National Democratic Congress. And on the day of election, that's Regulation 8(2), on the day, or I think Regulation 8(1) or 2, on the day of election, the rules or the laws of Electoral Commission of Ghana shall apply, except when it is clearly stated by the NEC coming up with a different guideline that is different from the EC. So you see clearly that Regulation 8 of the NDC guideline, election committee guideline, it is the laws of the Electoral Commission of Ghana that is applicable to this election. So therefore, if we want to hold this election to any standard, then it is the Electoral Commission standard that we are going to apply as per Regulation 8 of that register. However, let me come back to the genesis of why we are here today.
No, but before you go to the genesis, a few factual issues that we need to clear up. First of all, did you meet the party executives yesterday in an attempt to address the concerns you've raised?
That is what we are coming back to the genesis. That's what I'm going to address.
No, but if you can, let's address yes or no for me. Yesterday, did you meet them?
Can I establish the genesis of the issue? Because you are asking a question that the answer will imply or import a meaning. So I need to clarify it properly. On the 17th, according to them, after successful vetting, the voter register is supposed to be given to all candidates that have successfully gone through vetting. And the vetting was conducted on Dr. Kwabena Dufour on the 28th of March. By 29th of March, the balloting took place where he took number 3 position. We handed to them hard drive so that they can put a soft copy of the voter register. We asked for hard copy, and the elections committee said that no, it will come in a soft copy. So we gave them a hard drive on the 29th of March. Since then, we have never had any communication. I kept on calling and asking to the extent that on the 17th of April, I sent a text message to the General Secretary registering Dr. Kwabena Dufour's campaign team's disappointment or not adhering to their own promises. And on that, in that WhatsApp message, I indicated that we shall follow up with official letter. And I was given all the assurance. Now, we wrote again, officially, on the 2nd of May, just last week. Now, upon that letter, they did not even reply that letter. We only had a verbal communication, a phone call from one Madi Jibril, that we are to meet on the 4th of May. We asked what is the agenda. He said it concerns the register. Fine. So on the 4th of May, I and Roger Martinonu were there to represent the Covenant. And after a long debate, that now they are ready to give us a hard drive with 228 photo albums. That means representing 228 constituents. And we raised serious issues that is not the complete register. We were expecting the full complement of the voter register.
So this is the meeting yesterday. This is the 4th.
That's the meeting on the 4th. Yesterday's meeting is on the 8th. I'm establishing grounds leading to yesterday's meeting. So on the 4th, we registered our protest that you cannot give us at this short time 228 constituencies of photo album. And what do they expect to do with it? Because the base document for every election is a voter register. And for candidate Dr. Kwabena Dufo to have the register, it must be full. So if you give us a partial voter register or photo album, what are we going to do with it? However, we took it. Now, on the same day also, they promised that the content of the hard drive was 228. Therefore, remaining 47 photo album or 47 constituencies photo album or voter registers to be submitted to us on the 8th of May, which was yesterday. Therefore, we took delivery of that 228, only to discover on the hard drive that the constituency album that were there were 220. So the analysis that we have presented was based on 220 constituency photo albums, not 228. Now, the primary purpose of yesterday's meeting, which was on the 8th, was to take delivery of the remainder 47 constituencies. So we were there to take delivery of the 47 remaining constituencies that they promised. But when we did our assessment on the voter register, we realized that it's rather remaining 55 constituencies, not 47. So yesterday's meeting was to just go there, maybe for further brief, then take delivery of the remainder 47. Now, this is what transpired yesterday. We presented our findings on the voter register. And we came up with the irregularities and the incomplete nature of the register. Now, when we presented those facts to them, reminding them also, when we responded to the meeting that took place on the 4th, and the matters arising from that. So they decided that the meeting was chaired by, Vice-Free, and that once we have raised critical issues regarding the 220 photo album, are you online?
I am listening to you. I'm waiting for you
once
to
we have
come
raised
to that
issues
conclusion.
concerning the 220 photo album on the voters register, they are no more going to give us the remainder 47 constituents.
So they told you in this meeting they won't give you the remainder of the 47.
Exactly. Because once we have issue, there's a likelihood that we'll have another issue also with the 47. So therefore, they will prefer to combine all so that we can assess it all together. So that we don't coming and going.
So to clarify, so they wanted to give you the full list, not the remainder of the 47.
Correct.
Okay.
So we left there without taking delivery of the remainder 47 as they promised. Then one of the John Mohammed, His Excellency Mohammed representative, Otokuna, was there. He advocated that once we have presented this issue, it should be addressed at once so that the various remedies can be addressed. And the chairman reminded that, look, they just took delivery of this, so they cannot address it because there are serious matters that borders on the base document that is a voter register. So they have received it, and they'll get back to us. And as of now that we speak, we have never had any call. We have never had any official response in the form of verbal or documented of the day that they are going to meet that are covenant before campaign team to address the issue.
Bottom line, Bande was right when he says after that meeting, then you went and then published your concerns to the rest of the public.
Correct.
But why? But you've just sat in the meeting and he says we're going to give you the entire document. not the remainder of the 47, and they
They
explain to you.
are going to give us the entire document on what date. No data has been given.
Yes.
And we have 3 days to election.
But you have triggered the internal processes that was still grinding but hasn't resolved it yet. Why do you choose to go public?
Well, we have submitted the documents to the General Secretary and the Election Committee.
Okay, there's another issue that came up. That as far as the process of monitoring the printing of, stationery for the elections, printing of ballot papers, you actually had agents in the room, true?
Yeah, we supplied agents.
Yes. So the party has been very transparent and open with you all throughout the process.
You see, we are talking about voter register. We are talking about ballot paper. We have not raised any issue on ballot paper. We are talking about the base document, voter register. So if you bring in ballot papers, you have not done any protest on ballot paper. So I cannot answer to that.
Okay. So as you speak tonight, you still don't know when you're getting the 47? As you speak tonight, you don't know when you're getting the remainder, the 47?
We don't know,
okay,
because nothing has been communicated.
Stay with me. Mustafa Bandi has been listening to you throughout. Mustafa, so he's laid out the challenge. If you met them, the executives met them yesterday, and they were told to come for 47, the remainder of the 47, the Borg, and you didn't give to them. But why? I mean, you have 4 days to the elections, and they still don't have the full complement of the register.
Thank you very much, Evans, and good evening to my brother Kukuwa. First of all, let me state that the hue and cry of 4 days and they don't have election voters register is in itself, it is honesty, because over a month we gave them a voters register. It is on that basis that they have been campaigning all around the country. We have decided to compile just something above a voters register to an album where we'll link individuals' party identity to the voters register, such that we can import your picture onto the album to reduce the likelihood of impersonation. And so when we are on this process, and you have been furnished with about 8% of the data, and you call that incomplete, after you have sat in a meeting where you were given answers and assurances that today the technical team will complete the process, taking into consideration your own complaints, and then furnish you with a full document, and you go behind that to publish, half-truths without indicating to the public that you were in a meeting. In one breath, Kukubos admits that there was a meeting. In another breath, he says the purpose of the meeting was to receive a voters register. Then in another breath, he intimates that they raised their concerns, and they haven't gotten an answer, because just within 12 hours or so, you haven't gotten an answer. It's a problem. Number two, even if you have 5 or 6 processes leading to an election, and you have not complained over all the processes except one, we should say that the entire processes are flawed. For that matter, the election will not be transparent and credible. And because they have not gotten a written response, that you have written a letter requesting for an album, and you've been given over 80%, which he himself agrees. Because a letter was not accompanied with that information, national executives are trying to rig elections in favor of one candidate. That is not fair in the first place. Even the process from the word go have been very transparent. National Executive Committee have been very neutral. We have allowed technical election committee to meet with all aspirants and deal with their concerns. He admits that there was a meeting yesterday in which he was present. These issues were discussed. So to go behind that meeting, writing messages to the public without telling the public that you have just left a meeting. In his letter, he has failed to indicate to the public that his campaign team and his candidate have in their possession about 80% of the constituency.
But Mustafa, thankfully, you've contested an internal party election before that saw your election as Deputy General Secretary. If 4 days to the poll, you don't have full complement of the register, you won't be happy.
4 days to the poll, they have delegate list of the whole country. They are not talking about that.
Minus 47
They're giving delegate list.
areas.
The purpose of the album is to ensure transparency of the election.
Absolutely, which is critical, and they don't have the full complement of that yet.
They should not twist the fact that because they've not been given an album, they've been deprived of information that will help them in the election. I can assure you that they have the delegate list. The album, that is why whatever was ready was given to them. Yes, we admit that time is of essence in the whole of the exercise. But the processes that we have put in place will ensure that each delegate, each candidate is treated fairly in the process. That you've been given 80% of the constituency albums, and you have been assured that today you'll be given the remaining when the technical committee had finished their work.
So has the technical committee finished?
The reason they didn't give you the remaining 47 was to give you a complete book. Now, you have intimated that you have raised some pertinent irregularities that you have identified. Has other candidates raised similar complaints? If you have, those issues will be addressed. So to run to the public and screaming as if you've not been treated fairly, running to the public, screaming and accusing National Executive itself, I consider it malicious. I consider it very unfounded. And it is not fair that my brother Kukubo and his team, apart from their own inconsistencies and lack of organization in the past, that they sent one candidate to represent them in a particular matter and send another on the same matter.
Yeah, I mean, he's addressed. I said they don't have any issues with the ballot.
They should not. They should have fairly.
I mean, but Mustafa, let me ask you. So this technical committee, you've given a timeline now. It's close of day now. It's past. I mean, we are 6 p.m. now. Are they done with their work, and have they sent the full complement?
Kukubo is aware that they are meeting this night. Kukubo knows very well. The campaign team of Dr. Kumnadufo is aware that the team is meeting them. They are aware.
So when will they get? So when will they get the full complement of the register?
No. Even they will get the documents based on how credible it is. You have complained that you have identified some irregularities, which is fair.
So you're suggesting you want to fix it before you hand them?
Stand to be addressed.
So you want to fix the...
And I've repeatedly stated that they have access to the secretariat, they have access to all the officers involved to address their issues.
Okay.
That of yesterday, in which they were in a meeting, came out of the meeting and published what they have published.
Yeah, I mean, Mustafa, thank you very much. But Mr. Kukubo, you just had the update on this. The technical committee is still working throughout the night to ensure that you get it. Does it address your concerns? Are you happy with that at least?
No, because we don't even know what they are addressing. You see, there's a reason why we call for stakeholder meeting, because Dr. Kobnadufo is a stakeholder in this election. So you cannot be addressing challenges that arise without involving a stakeholder. Now, however, let me address some of the pertinent things that Mustafa Bande raised. It's a sad development for Mustafa Bande to state that we have stated that the election, because of the irregularity, let me use the right word, inaccuracy and incomplete nature, because that is the word we used. Incomplete. The register is incomplete, which he himself has affirmed or confirmed on your this or that. It's about 82%. 82% is not 100%. And I don't know how 220 constituencies compared to 275 amount to 80%. I'm not good in mathematics. Maybe the mathematician could do that basic arithmetic. But to say that we have alleged that the national executives are intending to rig the election on behalf of for somebody, you can go back to our document.
Okay, so you're saying you've never said that?
Is that
You've never said.
No, you can refer to that.
Okay, so
because we are very specific with the word
and Coco Bordeaux, and because of time, I need to ask you a direct question. We now have 4 days to go less. What do you plan to do about this at this stage?
Well, elections are mounted on a legal legs, so we will make sure we explore all the legal avenues to ensure that we have credible register that will guarantee free and fair elections for everybody, both the candidates and that of the voters who are going to vote, to ensure that whoever they elect the person is the true representation of their choice.
So when you say legal legs, you're suggesting that if push comes to shove, you don't mind dragging this off to the courts to decide?
We are going to explore all legal avenues to ensure the credibility of the voter register.
Thank you, Kofi Kukubo. Thank you, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC there, speaking to us about the difficulties the executives are having to deal with now. Days to the all-important NDC national primaries to elect both presidential and parliamentary candidates. On News Night tonight, reinstate dismissed workers or risk shutdown of economy. Trade Union Congress declares as it begins series of protests to pile pressure on management of the power company Sonon Asogli to reverse its decision.
We will not hesitate from shutting down the economy. And when I say shut down the economy, no economic activity would happen, just so that we can press home this demand for the reinstatement of these workers.
Plus, judicial service workers serve notice of industrial action as they demand a review of their salaries.
If we don't get it, we're going to notify the Labour Commission in accordance with the law that if after 12th of this month our demands are not met, we shall embark on a series of industrial action.
Also tonight, bipartisan support and consensus emerged between NDC and MPP over moves to amend the constitution to allow dual citizens hold certain public offices.
What President Mahama is seeking to do is that we will afford some support for the process. What happened to our candidates for us? No, that has not happened to any other individual. Ever.
The bill to amend Article 94(2)A is one of the bills they're going to be discussing.
But is a bill in Parliament getting similar support in the House where the decision will be taken?
If I should tell you some of the concerns, even some of the members of Parliament have raised about this bill, it will shock you. I mean, they are flimsy excuses.
And in business, Bank of Ghana targets drastic reduction in inflation rate to below 29% by end of year as a hint of more policy rate hike to fast track the reduction.
And in sports, the Champions League returns tonight. Real Madrid, Manchester City, but we are not in studio. We'll be in Osu at Poquitos, so you can drive pass by. We can watch the match together.
You want to join us? We go straight at 6:30 for that, all here on News Night. Join me with your views and comments. 055-11-11997. Details after this.
Visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number. The way that thing they pay, but with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant's number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today.
Vodafone.
Wouldn't you prefer an apartment hotel? One that offers the utmost convenience of a boutique hotel while offering the idyllic comfort of your own private home. Oasis Park Residences offers luxury studios, 1, 2 and 3 bedrooms both for short and long-term rental at competitive rates. Our sky swimming pool, gourmet outdoor restaurant and a fully equipped gym rest on a breathtaking rooftop with panoramic views of the city. Oasis Park Residences, located at Shiashi, Tetekwashi, 10 minutes from the International Airport, is the ideal place for all your accommodation needs. Why don't you give us a call on 020-4343-009 or visit our website at oasisparkresidences.com to make your reservations. Oasis Park Residences, more than a home.
You're still live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. And let's start tonight from that massive protest by the TUC today. Now, those are sounds of members of organized labor who hit the streets in protest of the dismissal of 3 union workers at Sono Nasogli Power Ghana Limited. Now, the TUC is demanding the reinstatement of the dismissed workers or risk a shutdown of the economy. Now, listen to the national chair of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Kwaku Mensah Jakari, who says the act by the power company is clearly a case of victimization.
They have made up their mind that they want to get these guys out. They have suggested that if the guys need compensation, they will compensate them. But as Ghana Mine, that is not what we are looking for. There's something that every worker in this country must do. It's about the situation where employers decided to get employees out of job without any cause of any wrongdoing. And at the Labour Commission, they said that those guys have done nothing. It's simplicity. They have decided that they were getting them off. We asked them, have they committed any offense? They said no. It is just a matter they just want to get them out. And then I think it is something that, as serious as Ghanaians, we should look at this and fight it. And the next action, when we talk about the Ghana Mine Worker, where I belong to, we have also planned very well as to what we are going to do. The next action is going to follow from the Ghana Mine Workers. Other unions have also planned, because we will never, ever sit down for these things to continue. Because these Chinese guys, they are guys that we should not allow it to happen. It is not only here. We have other areas where these things are happening, but we think we must use this as a conduit to stop them from this wrongful act.
Well, let's speak to the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin Gbana, who joins us on the line right now. Abdul Mumin, thanks for your time here on News Night.
Thank you very much, Evans. Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners.
Have you heard anything back from Sono Nasogli after your protest today?
As at this material moment, we haven't gotten any feedback from Sono Nasogli. Not yet.
And so what's the next plan? From what I hear, this is not a one-off. The protest is not a one-off.
It isn't a one-off. In fact, we are pressing home our demand for the reinstatement of the 3 local union leaders. And to the extent that we do not hear anything in the affirmative, the series of actions that have been planned out would happen until the 3 dismissed union leaders are reinstated.
So will this happen in Accra or across the country as well?
As a matter of fact, I do not want to preempt, but I can assure you, if it requires that the entire economy will have to shut down to ensure that these 3 union leaders are reinstated, it would happen.
But why do you want to punish all of us for the sins of one company?
No, but an injustice to any worker in Sono Nasogli is an injustice everywhere in this country. And that is why nobody in this country should keep mute. All well-meaning Ghanaians must condemn this horrendous act by Sono Nasogli. It must not be allowed to stand. It just must not be allowed to stand. These are fundamental rights of workers, guaranteed by our Constitution, guaranteed by the Labour Act. ILO's International Labour Organization standards do guarantee that also. If you look at Convention 87 and 98. And so if workers in 21st century decide to come together to freely exercise their rights, why must an employer go after them in that manner? As if they are criminals, they get terminated in this horrendous manner, and we expect that we just sit back and allow this to happen. And so an injustice in Sono Nasogli to any worker of Sono Nasogli is an injustice to every worker in Ghana here. And if the economy will have to shut down to ensure that these 3 union leaders are reinstated, we are determined to ensure that happens.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdul Mumin Gbana, who is the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union. In a related development, the Judicial Service Staff Association has served notice of that they will continue and press ahead with a planned protest this Friday. They had declared that they will withdraw all services on Friday if demands for salary review is not addressed by their employers. Listen to the JUSAC General Secretary, Abdullah Yakubu.
If you check the trajectory of events over the years, anytime we are to have review of salaries for staff of the judicial service, it appears we'll have to threaten an industrial action before somebody will come in to use certain cosmetic ways to delay us before the salaries come. And as the third arm of government, we don't think staff should be subjected to what we are being subjected to. The National Labour Commission doesn't determine our salaries, and we ought not to have any business with them in the first place. Our engagement will be between the Judicial Council and the government. Per the conclusion, the President determines our salaries based on the advice of the Judicial Council. We have engaged the Judicial Council. They have forwarded their report or their advice to the President for the President to assent to it for implementation. And we wrote to the President himself, asking that he should assent to the salaries for implementation in the month of May, and we gave him up to 12 of this month. After 12 of this month, if we don't get it, we're going to notify the Labour Commission in accordance with the law that if after 12 of this month our demands are not met, we shall embark on a series of industrial action.
You're still listening to News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the quest for 11-year-old Gifty Danjo to get furniture for decent education in her rural school, Bakbaba DA Primary School in the northern region, moved her to uncontrollable tears. She questioned why they have to slam hard on the floor, on the bare floor, sometimes lying on their bellies just to have an education. Now, in the first episode, Ghana's Schools of Shame Season 2, Gifty makes a passionate appeal to the government to solve the problem. Features editor Jojo Kabana has more in a following report.
Children slamming on the bare, dirty floor in the name of education is common in many rural communities across the country. The pupils improvise by squatting, lying on their bellies or assuming weird positions on the floor just to get an education. The Bakbaba Primary School in the Nanumba North District of the Northern Region is one of the schools with a furniture problem. About 6 classes sit on the bare floor to study. For many years, the nursery, kindergarten, all the way to primary 5 do not have furniture. Odanjo Gifty is a primary 5 pupil. To get access to a desk, she comes to school very early in the morning. The furniture situation here is based on a first-come, first-served basis, but she is not happy losing hours of sleep because of furniture. Gifty found a way to avoid lying on the floor to write, but she's not happy that her colleagues lie on their bellies to write.
Just look at us, lying on the floor just because we want to learn, and it's not the best. We are appealing to government to come to our aid. My friends and I wash our uniforms daily because there's no furniture. When it rains, we are compelled to sit in a small structure. Because the building is small, we get beaten by the rain.
At this point, tears cloud her eyes, and shortly after, all emotions she had bottled up finally let loose.
As you can see, some of us don't have uniforms. Even me, I don't have any decent uniform. And we sit on the floor to learn. When it rains, we are compelled to sit in this structure. Because of its size, we are beaten by the rain.
She had endured enough of the humiliation. Her teacher, Janet Tijotap, who served as my translator, could not believe that the children are so affected by the furniture situation. She also shed tears.
During the rainy season, whenever it rains, it links from the up there. So they have to run into a small room over there. So she coming to school to see her colleagues lying down. When she look at it, she feels sad. So and that was what made her cry. I feel bad.
These tears are because of the pain of inequalities they had suffered for years. For years, teachers have not explored how children feel about sitting, lying and squatting on the bare, dirty floor to study. The director of School for Life, Widat Saibu, is not happy with the situation.
It makes me sad, very sad, because when I go to the communities and look at children really struggling to just acquire basic education. In the northern region, most pupils have only 35% of the trained teachers they need. About 30% do not have schools nearby. A lot of injustice, because a child born to a household that is poor means that his or her fate is sealed. And government, the essence of government is to ensure that these children, regardless of where you are born, you have the basic services, or you have access to basic services required to acquire decent education.
And Jojo Kobna filed that report in season 2 of Schools of Shame, and that was my reality more than 30 years ago in Adabraka here in Accra. Many of you I know have similar experiences. Share with us 055-1111-997. Tonight there is still a lot of work to do to convince at least 2/3 of all members of parliament to support a private member's bill which seeks to amend the constitution to allow dual citizens hold certain public offices. Now, this is in spite of party top guns on both the NDC and the MPP backing the proposed amendments. Special aide to former President John Mahama, Joyce Bar Mukhtari, says the former president and the NDC, they are fully in support of efforts to amend that part of the constitution.
What President Mahama is seeking to do is that we will afford some support for the process. And of course, what we intend to do is to make sure that what happened to our candidates for our Sin North does not happen to any other individual. Evans, we live in a country where Ghanaians who are resident in other jurisdictions have become prime ministers, have become ministers, have become members of parliament. So like every other jurisdiction that we know about, where Ghanaians have gone to and through naturalization have occupied key positions either to be served for nationals, we as a people must start to look forward, to be more progressive, to start to see the world as a global village more than as an individual nationalistic thing. I think that we speak from a position of knowledge, considering what has happened, the unfairness, the inequity of how the member of parliament for Asin North has been treated, largely because he was deemed to have been registering or filing for nominations at a time when he was deemed to be a citizen.
Well, Director of Communications for the governing New Patriotic Party, Richard Dahagba, says the MPP has actually taken the initiative to begin the processes towards amendment.
The matter is self-evident that we need to work to repeal it. I think that the NDC put it in there, and they've never had occasion to do anything to repeal it. In 2012 or so, when our former MP for Boko, Abu Sekande, was sentenced, I think former President Mahama pardoned him, but meanwhile the law was effected in that case. The current commentary by the former president is motivated because they feel an NDC MP is caught in the web. And that for me is problematic. The motivation is not right. But I want to tell you, Evans, that this law is being worked on rather speedily under this government. What I know that between the 19th and 22nd of this month, the committee, Constitutional Legal Committee, will be meeting in preparation for Parliament coming back into session.
Well, but despite these public affirmations in public by leaders of both the NDC and MPP, a sponsor of the bill, MP for King Street Road, Kennedy Osenyako, says some MPs have concerns about this particular proposed amendment.
Where it has reached needs a consensus and a serious advocacy among the members of parliament. If I should tell you some of the concerns, even some of the members of parliament have raised about the bill, it will shock you. I mean, they are flimsy excuses.
Well, it says a fear that persons who hold dual citizenship may betray Ghana is unfounded.
First of all, I see it to be too vague. Even the Constitution fails to even tell what is allegiance. When they say allegiance, what is it about? What is allegiance? So sometimes I find it difficult when people want to hide behind this phrase to say that because of allegiance, we shouldn't allow our families or anybody or friends to come and join the political discourse. In any case, once you were born by a Ghanaian parent, whether you were born here in Ghana, and because of whether education or investment or family ties, you relocate to a different country and you have become a citizen of that country, does not alienate your citizenship right as a Ghanaian.
And that is Member of Parliament for Akim Sredro Kennedy Osei-Nyako and Georgia Face joining me with business. Georgia, do you hold dual citizenship in any particular country? I have my own suspicions that they possibly are also citizens of the United States of America.
And I used to hold, but I don't have it anymore.
Oh, you used to.
You know, but I think that, listen, certain positions should be left for people who are holding allegiance to just one country. I believe that. Very critical political positions. I mean, be a Minister of Finance, be a Minister of National Security, or maybe very, very critical position that warrants that, listen, you owe allegiance to a country. You know, previously it was a challenge about holding those dual citizens. So you had to take a decision then. If it was now, I would have still held those two.
So you have renounced your American citizenship?
Why do you want to prove the country?
I'm just wondering.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Well, coming up in business, Bank of Ghana targets a drastic drop in inflation rate to below 29% by end of year as a hint of more policy rate hikes to fast-track the slowdown. And the economist, Professor William Barboating, sees Ghana securing an IMF program as a major turnaround for the economy. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Let's now settle for the details. The Bank of Ghana is projecting some drastic drop in the inflation rate to reach below 29% by the end of this year. There is more in this report.
Bank of Ghana has indicated that it will continue to hike the policy rate in the coming months to support the slowdown that we are witnessing since March this year. The central bank added that what was recorded in the first quarter of this year is just the beginning of more reductions yet to come based on the work that the bank has done since last year. There have been concerns that this latest stance of the Bank of Ghana might worsen the already tough credit conditions facing a lot of businesses in the country. The central bank believes these actions are needed to try and bring inflation under control to aid in the stability of the economy. This is because the bank maintains that the March rate of 45% is still above its medium-term target when it comes to bringing inflation rate down to its target by 2025. The central bank maintains that the market will soon start reaping the benefit of some of the staff measures that it are taken to try and bring inflation rate under control.
And that is a business desk report. Now, economist Professor William Barboating has indicated that Ghana securing an IMF program in the second quarter of this year could result in a major turnaround for the economy. Now, it follows reports that the country could get an IMF board consideration for its program by the close of this month. Professor William Barboating tells Joy Business past data has shown that things has improved greatly for the economy when we got this program.
Normally, there's this saying that if you want to know what will happen in the future, look at what has happened in the past. So, not to take you so far, I mean, we were down the recession in the early 1980s. So we had the IMF program. So let's say the Bretton Woods institution came in. That's the economic recovery program and the structural adjustment. It has its own negative effects. There's no doubt about that. But at least we're able to recover. And since 1984, we had never recorded any negative growth as a country. So when IMF comes in, it gives some kind of confidence to external creditors. It gives confidence to almost everybody. They become police on how we do things. And that will also make policymakers and government conform, not minimize the excesses in terms of something that will bring the economy to its knees. So for the IMF coming in, I think it will give us the stability that we want.
Professor William Boateng is the head of the Econs Department at the University of Ghana, Legon, and he is an economist as well. The unavailability of data on inclusive payment systems among African countries has been cited as a major setback in ensuring inclusivity in digital payments across the continent. Now, that's according to the African, which is made up of a team of experts committed to unlocking the potential of digital financial services in Africa. The absence of data among some of these African countries is going to defeat their quest to narrow the financial exclusion in the African region. Mensah is the Deputy Chief Executive of Africa Nether, and he has been speaking to Joy Business at the opening of a peer learning visit to some selected African countries, including Ghana.
You know, the difficulty for us when we started this journey with the State of Instant and Inclusive Payment System, the first edition, which was launched in October 2022, was to find, first of all, how many instant payment systems are in Africa. Are they inclusive? Are they interoperable? Are they facilitating access to people who are outside of the financial ecosystem? And it has been difficult because even when you go into, desk research, you do the interviews and you have consumer research that's ongoing, it was very difficult for us to collect the data. We actually have 7 countries in Africa where no information whatsoever was available in the net and in all of our research. So that is a challenge.
And that is Deputy Chief Executive of Africa Nether, Mensah, that is speaking to Joy Business after an engagement with officials of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems in Ghana as part of their Africa Tour program. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
George, you're still grinning from ear to ear. You won't tell us the story behind
it's a real challenge where you have to take a decision on where your allegiance.
Is it transferable?
No, it is not transferable when it comes to these today. Never.
Because I'm talking about your American citizenship.
Have a great day, Evans.
George, you are free with business.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That's happy moments listening to your baby's heartbeats at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any amount daily, weekly, or monthly by dialing *170# option 3 and follow the process. Or simply dial *170*311# for a superb airtime purchase experience. You enjoy 100% bonus airtime anytime you recharge yourself with MTN Momo. Keep on talking with that 100% feeling. So, what are we doing today?
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST Campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Do you know Flamingo Paint has superior properties than any other paint brand on the market? Listen, when you take 1 bucket of Flamingo Paint, it's equal to several buckets of any paint brand on the market. So, Flamingo has superior hiding properties, superior coverage, it means it covers, and superior durability. Flamingo Paint, superior hiding. Flamingo Paint, superior coverage. Flamingo Paint, superior durability. Flamingo Paint, simply superior.
You're still live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Ghana Water Company Limited has tonight shut down its supply to the Guinness Ghana Brewery Limited. The company is cracking down on defaulting customers as part of its revenue mobilization war. Now, Guinness Ghana Brewery Limited owes the water company 6.7 million cedis. Now, listen to the regional chief manager of Accra East, Emmanuel Johnson, who led a task force to storm the premises of Guinness Ghana today.
AGI, Ghana Water Company, is part of the AGI. And we have gone back and forth at PURC. And we have met in our Ghana Water Company offices on many occasions concerning the amount of money they owe us and they need to pay. They pleaded for extension of time to make payment. And the extension of time has elapsed. We gave them 3 months notice and it has elapsed. But Guinness is showing no faith to pay the tariff which have been given to the industry. And so this is the reason why we are here to disconnect them, because we have had a series of meetings. Even last week, Tuesday, we had a meeting with them, and based on that, they were supposed to meet us at 10 o'clock today and draw a payment plan for us, but they didn't turn up. They didn't give us any indication. Upon the mails that we sent them, they didn't give us any indication that they are coming.
Well, Mr. Johnson also issued a warning to defaulters who have not settled their bills to do so to avoid disconnection.
This is not going to only the industries. It's going to all Ghanaians, all mini Ghanaians, that once you owe Ghana Water Company, you troop to our office and make payment. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we are coming to disconnect you. And when we disconnect you, you have to make all the full payment before we come and reconnect you. And we should not allow water company to suffer, because we have a lot of bills to pay. We have electricity bills to pay, we have chemical bills to pay, pumpers to pay, and we have staff to pay. And so if we cannot allow water company to go into the drain, we should pay your bills. Those people who owe us are owing us a bill of 800 million Ghana cedis, over 800 million Ghana cedis, and that's huge. So they should get prepared and pay the money. Otherwise, we come after them and disconnect them.
Okay. So in the last few minutes, Guinness Ghana, they've issued a statement on this back and forth with the Ghana Water Company. Papania Shali is in the studio with me with details. First of all, has this affected the Guinness Ghana Breweries operations at all?
Yeah, so Evans, that statement that you referred to, signed by Sylvia Owusu Ankuma, who is the corporate relations officer, says categorically that they can confirm that they have not shut down their operations for both its brewery sites in Accra and Kase.
What about the fundamental issue around the bills? You see, the Ghana Water Company says they owe them 6.7 million Ghana cedis. What's your reaction to that?
So the company definitely does not side with that particular narrative. It says in its statement that they have been fully compliant on all bills to the Ghana Water Company Limited based on the industrial rate, and that's exactly what they say in their statement.
Now, but they make an important point that they have a petition.
Yes.
That they've already sent out.
Yes, and that seems to stem from the second paragraph where they mentioned that an industrial rate. So they claim that there was a reclassification that was done by the Ghana Water Company Limited, and that may have changed their position. But they have petitioned the PURC, that's the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, to look into that. And they tell us that even as of this morning, it's in the third paragraph, that as of this morning, they had sat down with the PURC, the Ghana Water Company Limited itself, the minister at the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, to look at this one. And they tell us that this is supposed to be actually the third engagement that they've had with these stakeholders, and they are waiting the result of this particular petition.
Okay, I see. Let's get some further clarity on this from the Ghana Water Company. Director of Communications is Stanley Mate, joins us on the line right now. Stanley, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Yes, thank you very much, Evans.
I wonder if you've seen the Ghana's their statement on this. They say they've filed a petition already, and they've already engaged you, Ghana Water Company. the PURC on their concerns on the arbitrary recategorization by yourselves?
Yes, that's fine. And what we are saying is that we do not set our tariffs. The tariffs are set by PULC, and when the tariffs are gazetted, there's nothing that we can do about it. The only thing we can do is to just bill our customers and then expect that our money will be paid, so that we can go ahead with our work. Now we have been engaging the Guinness Ghana Limited, and it's like they rather want to engage in other meetings with other people like other institutions instead of engaging us more and listening to us. And what we are saying is that we wouldn't stop them from engaging with anybody. Okay, but the thing is, whilst you're engaging them, you can pay on account, so we can also have the money so that we can do our work. Now we're supposed to have some meetings with them so that we have some payment, and if possible, just have some payment plan for the rest of the payment. And they have refused to come for the meeting. This morning, they were supposed to have a meeting yesterday. We reminded them. This one at 10 a.m., we waited for them to come. They never made it. So exactly 12 noon, we disconnected them. Okay, and we have disconnected them from their source. So maybe, yes, they have a reservoir inside their premises, and they can resort. They haven't shut down the operations yet.
Yeah,
so
but Stanley, on that,
but we have disconnected. We have disconnected them, and we are waiting payment before we reconnect them. If they're engaging with the minister, we don't have any problem about that. If they're engaging with PLC, we don't have any problem about that. But all we are saying is that while the engagement is going on, please be paying on account. And let's hope that everything goes well. Whatever the outcome is, yes, then we can comply. We either debit you or we credit you with the amount that that is due, whoever. Okay, but we need the money to work. As at now, with the tariffs that we have, they are owing us to the tune of 6.7 million as at March ending. Now, we haven't billed them for April, which means that the April bills will increase even more. So why don't they pay a certain amount every time agreed on, a certain amount that we all will agree on, so that every month, whilst we are engaging the other stakeholders, we still can have our money to work with. We are also owing other institutions, all right? We are owing the ECG, we are owing our chemical suppliers, we are owing other companies that supply us pipelines and valves and all that. How are we going to pay them if our customers refuse to pay their bills? Assuming that distributors refuse to pay them for the drinks they supply to their distributors, how would they be able to work? They have their business. We also have our business. We need to work hand in hand so that all businesses can go on. I mean, they can't treat us as if we are nobodies. I mean, we call you for meetings and you don't have any respect for us. I mean, you don't respond to our emails and all that. I mean, just because you are dealing with you're engaging the PLC or engaging the minister. No, it's not fair.
Stanley,
we have disconnected them. The outcome of whatever engagement, what the outcome of whatever engagement is, I mean, we'll comply.
So Stanley, so you've stated categorically many times that you've disconnected them, but you have a statement here with a headline: Guinness Ghana has not been cut off water supply from GWCL.
Okay, so let's wait for the coming days. If they think they haven't been disconnected and they have water to do their business, that's fine. Let's wait for the coming days.
So we say you disconnected them at source.
Exactly.
But they are very categorical that they still have water from Ghana Water Company. Have you checked?
They have a reservoir within their premises, so they can resort to the water in their reservoir.
Yeah, but that won't be a GWCL
is that
water.
They haven't stopped operations.
Yeah, they say that too.
They have some storage, and they will use the storage for their operations. Okay, if they pay us tomorrow, we will reconnect them tomorrow, and they wouldn't stop production. If they don't pay us after a week or two, when their storage is depleted, then we'll see how things go. For us, we want our money. We are also owing. We need to pay to our customers, our clients.
Let's clarify the amount again. You say 6.7 million?
6.7 million only for the Accra office. The Kumasi office has a different issue altogether. But this disconnection was done by the Accra East Regional Office of the Ghana Water Company Limited. The Asante South region will also deal with the Kase with plant. And I don't know the negotiations that they have as at now. But if it so happens that they have to be disconnected, we will disconnect them. We've had a very good relationship with all our customers, including GGBL. And we expect that there should have mutual respect for our relationship to go on for smooth
You almost
production.
suggest that Accra Breweries, Guinness Ghana, they have not respected that relationship. They haven't shown enough respect to Ghana Water.
Because if we are inviting you for meetings, just to have a payment plan so that we can all move on, and refuse to respond to us, then you are not respecting us as an institution.
But you two, but let me ask you, have you also been arbitrary in your recategorization of Guinness Ghana?
Evans, I said initially that it is the PLC that sets tariffs, okay? And if the tariffs are gazetted, there's nothing either the PLC or the Ghana Water Company Limited can do about it.
Are you applying the same categorization to other industries?
Another review.
Are you applying the same categorization to other industries?
Exactly so. All industries. And that is the new tariff after the first quarter review, after the major review in September last year. So, you know, the PLC has told all of us that there will be quarterly reviews of the tariff. So this is the first quarterly review after the major one in September. And they gave us different categorizations, okay? And for us, after the tariff being gazetted, we apply it. And that is what we have applied. And we keep telling you, if you have any issue, you can talk to the PLC, but still be paying on account. You can't refuse to pay, okay, while negotiating with PLC.
Well, this is
chemical bills for us.
Yeah, this is a revenue mobilization drive. Where do you go next?
We are dealing with everybody. We are not discriminating. Whether you are owing 20 CDs or 100 CDs or millions of CDs, we are coming this thing to your place. You need to settle your bill. If you don't, and it indicates in our system, we'll come over and disconnect you.
Stanley, thank you.
Our customers are owing us 800 million CDs plus. We can't survive with this debt. Okay, so please, everybody listen to the sound of my voice. The GWCL is bleeding. We need our money to enable us to work and to serve the same people well.
Okay.
And as they deserve, as they desire.
Okay. Stanley, thank you very much. Stanley Mate speaks for the Ghana Water Company Limited. And he's still live here on News. Snyder's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, priests in the Western region are hitting the streets in their numbers to protest against LGBTQ rights in Ghana. The priests will express their support for the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values current bill currently before Parliament as well in this particular protest, which also seeks to that bill seeking to criminalize same-sex relationships in the country. Now, the demonstration will take place simultaneously in Sekondi and Takrady in the Western region. My colleague Michael Shalley joins me in the studio with more on this particular story. So what more do we know about this protest by priests in the Western region?
So, Evans, first of all, they are planning to have a 2 to 3 days event starting on the 18th of this month. And it's going to start with a press conference stating categorically their position and what they are going to do. Well, somewhere in there, they tell us that they are going to mass up and then also pray. There's going to be a crusade at some point within these 3 days. And then they'll finally end with their demonstration.
Let's speak to the Executive Secretary of the Western Region Network of Ministers, Churches and Council, Right Reverend Dr. Bright Daniel Kaikari. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Reverend?
Yeah, good evening, Ivan.
Why has this become necessary?
Why has it become necessary?
Yes, this protest that you're planning next week.
Isn't it necessary?
Yeah, I'm wondering why.
It's very, very necessary. But let me clear the air on that. We are not demonstrating against persons within the LGBTQI+ community. We are not. We are only demonstrating against an act. We feel it's a perversion. And it will interest you to know, Ivan, that some of these people may be worshiping in our churches. We are not against them. But we, as a church, are saying that sex acts do not fit well with our belief system, our faith, and our teaching. And it's not only with the Christian community. In fact, our Muslim brethren will be joining us. We embarked on a similar campaign in 2011, and they just joined us, just like that, because it's also against their belief system.
So your protest is directed at, you said not the people, but what? They act. They act?
Mm.
So just clarify. So you are protesting against the act of homosexuality?
Exactly.
And what's the purpose? So you want them to stop it, or you want the state to do more? What? Just explain to me.
Yeah, Ivan, what we are doing is that we are demonstrating to let people know that that act is an act of perversion. It's against our belief system. We don't subscribe to it. And then secondly, our demonstration is also in support of the bill currently in Parliament, promotion of proper human sex rights and Ghanaian family values. We are demonstrating to support the bill. So it's in support of the bill. We are marching up so that the government will know that we, the Christian community, and even our Muslim community are in support of the bill so that they can go ahead and pass it.
And this will only be in the Western region. You plan to scale this out to other parts of the country?
Yes. The network, the Western region network of ministers, churches, and councils is domiciled here. We have other ecumenical bodies across the country. But this one is focused in the Western region because the body is here.
Thank you very much, Reverend. That's the Right Reverend Dr. Bright Daniel Kaikari, and he is Executive Secretary of the Western Region Network of Ministers. And that's it for News Night tonight. And I have exciting news for you because the gentleman who just took his seat in front of me is going to bring you the most exciting coverage of a certain delicious match in prospect, but all wrapped in the bubble of fanfare. Somewhere far away from the studios of Joy 99.7 FM. Where is it?
So, they are too far away tonight. Nathaniel Ato, Danny Cranton, Fentu Tahiru are in Osu at Poquitos, where they will be with the general public to watch today's game. Pardon?
Will there be food?
No, there'll be food. We won't go out without food. Real Madrid versus Manchester City. And then, in Manchester, George Addo Jr. is on standby to be bringing us the commentary itself. So I'm here in the studio. There's the team in Osu, and then there's the team in Manchester. Let's hear from George Addo Jr. in Manchester, and then Nathaniel Ato in Osu as well. Let's see which of them is good to go. George.
Yes, Gary, I'm good to go. I can hear you. Great good evening to you, Evans, and to everyone getting ready for this important game between Real Madrid and Manchester. And I have Aaron Sikaya with me. Aaron, say hello to Ghana.
Hello, Ghana. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this amazing matchup between Manchester City and Real Madrid.
Wicked.
Another chance for Manchester City to win that all-prestigious Champions League trophy they have been chasing for a long, long time.
Over to you, Gary. Let's look for that.
Right. So the reigning and 14-time European champions against the team widely recognized as the best in the world right now. Shame it's not the final, right? Let's head over to Osu here in Accra to see how ready people are with 9 minutes to go. Nathaniel Ato, are you ready for us? Nathaniel, can you hear us? We can see you clearly on your Zoom, so we know you are ready. If you are ready, just give us an audio wave, and let's get cracking with this one as well. Well, as he gets ready, perhaps on the other hand, like I said, it's the reigning and 14-time European champions against the team widely recognized as the best in the world. On the other hand, this way we get twice as much summit meeting fun. The first leg kicks off in 8 minutes at the Bernabeu. It's Modric, Benzema, and Vinicius Jr. versus De Bruyne, Silva, and Haaland. It's on. The teams are out. Very, very, very exciting, must be said. Real Madrid making 2 changes to the 11 that started a 2-1 Copa del Rey final victory over Osasuna on Saturday. Luka Modric replaces Aurelien Tchouameni in midfield. The France international dropping to the bench, while at the back, Antonio Rudiger stands in for the suspended Eder Militao. Man City, though, makes 6 changes to their starting 11 after a closer than it should have been 2-1 victory against Leeds on Saturday. Kyle Walker, Ruben Dias, John Stones, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and Jack Grealish are in. Aymeric Laporta, Julian Alvarez, Rico Luis, Riyad Mahrez and Phil Foden dropped to the bench, while Nathan Ake is injured. While I bring you the Champions League song, remember you can bring us your predictions. 055-11-11997. There's a bit of traffic in town. If you can pass through Poquitos in Osu in the first of 4 Champions League outings we have for you. Tomorrow we are at Oliver Twist. Next week we are at Bayview in Medina. Next week Tuesday, and on Wednesday we bring you another venue. So, you ready? Let's hear the Champions League song as we take you down to Osu.